7:02 ABC Radio Sydney.
Mornings.
Now we're talking Sydney.
Now, so much talk about the cost of housing and all the challenges, particularly for young people, of getting anywhere with all this kind of stuff. Well, here's something positive to talk about. At 16 minutes past 10, a Sydney community housing provider is helping young people living in its properties to go further than that and cover the costs of school and their extracurricular activities. In recent weeks, St George Community Housing has given out $235,000 worth of scholarships to more than 300 students. And we have with us the manager of Housing Plus, as it's called, for that provider, St George Community Housing, Carrie Yang. Welcome to you.
Hi.
Great to have you here. And we've got one of the recipients of these scholarships as well, Gerry Selvaraj. Welcome.
Hey, g'day. How's it going?
Great to have you here. Carrie, talk us through the thinking with these scholarships and how did the system get started?
St George Community Housing, it's the biggest Tier 1 community housing providers in Sydney Metro. So it's from Woollahra to Liverpool to from Hornsby to Sutherland.
Right, so it's not at all in the St George region. You're going everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And we provide 7,000 dwellings, to around 11,500 people to call the place to home. So our mission is to create great places, thriving people and connected communities. So I guess that as a community service provider, we recognize that we are not just providing, bricks and mortar. Once people's been housed, they had achieved certain level of security. So that's a great time for them to think about other things and, explore other opportunities. Our Strive scholarship program, it's aligned with that, philosophy, which is provide a scholarship money towards their educational cost. So it could be for kids purchasing school uniforms, supplied, digital devices, or could be extracurricular activities like school camp, music lessons and sports. So it's the things that we know that it's important to invest in our future generation because we know that their goals and aspiration will be served the community for the future. Yeah,
it's been in the news recently that the cost of even public schools, which are notionally free, there's all kinds of fees going on and you've got to meet a lot of other expenses just to get the most out of that experience. It sounds like a really good idea. And how long has this program been running? Because, the notion of Housing Plus, of meeting other challenges, sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, and we just turned, as an organisation, we just turned 40 this year. And for the Strive Scholarship Program, it's almost running for 20 years.
Oh, great.
So, for the 19 years that we provided $3.2 million to just over, 3,000 students.
That's an awful lot of money. Where does that money come from?
We mostly are funded by St George Community Housing because I think we recognise that it's a way that we give back to the community.
Okay, great. Well, really good to hear about it. And as I mentioned, we've been talking to Carrie Yang from St George Community Housing. We've also got with us one of the recipients of one of these scholarships, Gerry Selvaraj. Hi, Gerald. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, glad to be here.
Nice to have you both in Parramatta Square, by the way. Talk us through your experience with all of this.
Oh, well, I first accessed the scholarship back in 2019 and I got to use it up till around 2023. So for me, it really opened so many doors. And I think one of the most important things about the scholarship is it's not just financial support. It's actually a vote of confidence in the students and my ability to dream big and actually work towards our goals. So back in 2019, when I first applied, we have to write what we'd like to do with the money and where we'd see ourselves in the future. And one of the things I said is that I'd like to study law and pursue a career in public service. And I guess I used the funds for quite a lot of different adventures and expeditions, and I kind of built my kind of foundation in the scouting movement.
All right.
So back in 2022, I actually dedicated the funds to a trip to Finland it's called a Finnish Jamboree with the scouting movement. So this was 3 weeks in a Finnish forest, and we also did a huge sailing adventure for 5 days Southwest Archipelago. And I guess kind of that using those funds to open those doors and really experience something phenomenal and got to do a lot of leadership, team building, communication, and, I got to take back a lot of different lessons and apply it into my everyday life, and using those funds to really strengthen those opportunities and pathways which I wouldn't have been able to access otherwise.
Can you share something about how you came to find yourself in this position of needing the services of St George Community Housing for you and your family?
So back when I was in year 7, my mum and I, we were suddenly evicted from our homes. There was no warning, no reason given. It was actually one of the toughest moments for my mum and I.
Yeah, it must have been.
And we were very fortunate to get a place with St. George Community Housing. And I think one of the most important things is it really gave us confidence and it put us both back on our feet. And my mum only wanted to see me go places in the future and actually work towards my dreams. And without the lifeline of St. George Community Housing, just really don't know where we would have ended up.
Yeah, it sounds like it had a pretty transformative impact in your case. And how did you go with all the dreams you had? You wanted to go and get active and I guess help people. Have you been able to do that?
Yes, I definitely have. So now I'm studying a law degree at UNSW. I'm also majoring in Chinese studies, learning the language. So getting in touch with, a multicultural community, such a vibrant and lovely group. I'm also now working in Chris Minz's electorate office in Kogarah. So it's public service and working for the people who live in the electorate and dedicating my time to service it's just a dream come true.
Okay, so Gerald's a success story of this program here. And Carrie, can you talk about the kind of other people who've been helped by this scheme, having heard Gerald's rather inspiring story of getting out of a tough spot? I mean, your organisation's helping a lot of people in these sorts of situations. Can you tell us more about those situations?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the tenants that we serve, I said, they're the reason that get me out of bed, every day. As a story that actually came to mind when you're asking that questions that one of our Strive Scholarship tertiary recipient, and she is a mother of 2 children, single mother, and escaped family and domestic violence. And she aspire to pursue a career, disregard the circumstances she experienced. So she was studying a master in international development. So she was awarded the Strive Scholarship tertiary and used the money that she was able to balance, I guess, her mental health, self-care to the very heavy load of being a single parents and managing a full-time master degree study. But her dreams is to use her study when she graduated. She'll be able to become a policy writer to influence, how to better servicing people that, suffer from domestic violence, inequality, just with her first-hand experience. So her story just motivates me and touched me.
I'm sure it did. 24 minutes past 10 is the time here at 7:02 ABC Radio Sydney. We've been talking to Carrie Yang, who's Housing Plus Manager at St George Community Housing, as well as one of the scholarship recipients from their grants, Gerry Selvaraj, here in the studio in Parramatta Square. And Carrie, I guess in recent years we've been talking about the cost of living crisis. I know St George Community Housing's been going for 40 years, as you say, but it does feel as though the last couple of years have been particularly brutal, I guess, especially in Sydney, such an expensive city to both live in and just in terms of housing and the cost of living. What have you seen in terms of the need over the past few years? Has it really exploded?
Yeah, I guess that we can see, the housing waiting list are, on the expansion. So it's not reducing the numbers. That means there's still a great needs, of low cost and affordable housing, throughout Sydney. I guess what we do is to respond to the needs of the tenants that we serve. So in ways of providing scholarship program and also within the Housing Plus, we also provide training and employment support. So not only to the people who are living in social housing, but also for people that are open to people on the waiting list. So hopefully that we provide that service, help them to get back on their feet and get back into employment. So through that to divert them from the housing waiting list. So the things that we could do is just to respond to their needs. It is out of, I guess that my area's control because I'm more on the service delivery, area. But, St. George Community Housing, we committed to the strategy of, growing our housing stock to continue, meet the needs.
Absolutely. David's on the line from Marrickville. Hi, David.
Hi. I'll just wind the window up.
Okay, just take a second to do that.
One of the problems of living in Marrickville.
No worries.
Joys of living in Marrickville, I should say. I was wondering if you can tell me, are you associated with any religious body?
Oh, because it's St. George, you're wondering. No.
Hi, David. No, we are not aligned with any faith-based. We are, operate as a not-for-profit organisation, but we are not faith-based.
There you go.
And how do you choose who gets a home and who doesn't?
This is my next question. Thank you for that, David. Yeah, I was keen to know, Carrie, how the entry pipeline works, I guess.
I guess that, that's not my, expertise area, I would say. But speaking in the general terms that when applicants, they will put in an application through the housing waiting list, and there's a certain policy procedure, surrounded how to process that application. So that would be probably a great question for our pathway and allocations team to answer.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be good to know, but I'm sure the website has more information. David, we'll leave you to the plains, but thanks for
housing list.
The housing list. Are you talking about a general housing list or one particularly for St. George?
I think there's only one, housing waiting list. So it's quite, it's just a
sort of
one queue.
one.
Yeah,
Okay.
one queue. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, David. We'll try and get a more detailed answer. Cheers for the call. Okay. And always good to hear people with under the flight path. Okay. So just before we go, I mean, look, this sounds like a great initiative, and noting that St. George Community Housing operates across the city. And I see you got the Governor as your patron as well, the Honourable Margaret Beasley, who's been on the radio with us a few times. Housing is I guess, front of mind, particularly for young people like you, Gerald, and I do note that you work with Chris Minns. But in terms of your cohort of people, I just wanted to know how they're feeling about housing in general. I mean, it's great that St. George operates and helps people who really need it, but have you got a view about what we do about housing more broadly?
Well, look, I'm sure everyone is feeling it for sure, but there is definitely hope, and there is a lot of great work which is going into this crisis, and we are working quite well towards it. And it's quite amazing to see the outlook and what is to come.
I mean, are you hopeful yourself about housing going forward?
Oh, for sure. And to see the great work of the New South Wales state government, it's just been spectacular. And I know that, there are definitely more opportunities to come.
There you go. So someone who works with Chris Minns thinks they're doing a spectacular job. There you go. But look, this is a great initiative. I hadn't heard about this before, Carrie, and I'm so glad that you and Gerald have come to tell us. Just before you go, I mean, how extensive is this? How many people are you helping year on year? I know there's quite a lot of scholarship recipients recently at this event because you're a powerhouse, but your organisation does more than this. Yeah,
and I think beyond just providing the essential service like sustaining tenancy, tenancy management side of it, we also have support coordination, which is provide additional support for family that going through crisis and going through a very difficult time. So my area is a Housing Plus. So we provide scholarship program, we provide training and employment support. We provide assistance for someone getting a driver's license for work purposes. We also help them with interest-free purchasing, digital devices. And I guess that it's continue evolving because our customers, our tenants' needs are evolving. So we need to be quite in tune of that. We continue to learn what their needs are, and then we continue to develop program and fund program that is going to deliver the outcome to help them.
Yeah.
So,
and it's great to know that organisations like yours are thinking about more than just a roof over their heads. It's actually about all the other expenses of modern life, which we know are considerable. Thank you both so much for coming in. Lovely to meet you both.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, Carrie Yang is Housing Plus Manager with St. George Community Housing, and we've had Gerald Selvaraj, who's received one of their scholarships in the past. Sounds like it was fairly life-changing. I can tell you the New South Wales Housing Register, as Carrie says, is I'm reading from the website here. It's on the FACS department website. It's a single list of approved applicants waiting for social housing, and they list applicants in order according to their required housing location, approval category and approval date. So if you want to know more, go to facs.nsw.gov.au, and Family and Community Services will, I hope, be able to help you out with services such as this.
This is Mornings on 702 ABC Radio Sydney.